Hey there. If you told me a few weeks ago that I'd be sitting here talking to a camera with freshly washed, not even dry hair, putting videos out on YouTube for anyone in the world to see, I'm not sure I would have believed you. I'd wanted to do Ali Abdaal's 7 video challenge for a couple of years, but it took me ages to finally commit to buying it. And then once I bought it, the 7-month timer started, so I had 7 months to post 7 videos publicly on my YouTube channel. That sounds, super simple, right? But before starting this, although I wasn't completely new to YouTube, I was new to creating content like this. I already had a channel with the courses for my the lessons for my marathon mindset course. But apart from the first video, all of those videos are just slides with me talking over the top, so you don't actually see me on camera. And although I understand the video hosting side of things, how to upload a video to YouTube, hosting unlisted videos for course members who already know who I am and who are invested in what I have to say, that's completely different from creating public content for total strangers on the internet, which is still really scary. And the truth is that being on camera is something that I've always found really hard. Although I've got fairly used to the idea of public speaking, although I'm definitely less practiced with it now because it's not really as big a part of my job. But talking to a single glass lens, that's a completely different skill, because when you're speaking to a room full of people, you get the energy back from them and you get the feedback, whereas you just, a camera gives you nothing. And mainly it's the fact that I struggle with the way that I look on camera, and I particularly dislike hearing my own voice. So the prospect of sitting down, filming myself, editing the footage, and then having to listen back to myself all the time, that was pretty daunting. And it's something that I felt I needed a bit of kind of confidence and oomph to be able to do. I'm also somebody who really needs a deadline to get things done. So if I had spread this out evenly over the full 7 months, what would have happened was that I would have spent days of paid work every single month, agonising over each video, overthinking every detail, spending way more time on them than I actually needed to, when I just needed to get those videos out. So I decided the best thing I could do was to give myself a really short window and then just blitz through them in a few days. So I battled a lot with perfectionism. Forcing myself to post things that were far from perfect was actually a really big win for me. And in the early learning phase, keeping that momentum going and just getting the videos made was much more important than making, any single one perfect, because they're going to be rubbish because I've never done this before anyway. And my first video was supposed to be about beating perfectionism, and honestly, the irony was not lost on me. But I filmed it on this iPhone, the one I'm using now. So I've got an iPhone 14 Pro, which has an amazing camera. So I use the cinematic mode for that. And the picture quality is actually pretty good, although I possibly should have cleaned the lens. I started using a little lapel mic, but I got some feedback to say the sound from that wasn't great. But it took me an entire morning to record a 53-second video. I didn't have a script or bullet points. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to say as I went along. And then when I tried to upload it, I couldn't work out how to change the orientation. And YouTube kept trying to make it a short, and shorts don't count for this challenge. And yeah, I was having a bit of a meltdown. But that was my first big lesson, that I couldn't just kind of wing it on camera, and I needed to have bullet points so that I wasn't wasting hours just trying to talk off the top of my head. And then moving on to video 2, that was an introduction video. So things didn't really get much easier with that. I think with talking about yourself, psychologically it's quite a challenge, because if people don't like your video, it's like they're rejecting you as an individual. So that also took me absolutely ages to get it done, and in the end I didn't even end up using the final take. My mistake was trying to record the whole video in one continuous perfect run, and if I messed up near the end, I'd just start all over again from the beginning, and I realised quickly I just had to stop doing that. I needed to record in smaller chunks, write out a script beforehand, and learn how to stitch things together in editing. I started using Microsoft Clipchamp on my PC just to get those kind of basic edits and stuff done, and that's a bit... Anyway, I'm using free tools because, I'm just using what I've got, because I'm not sure whether or not I want to continue with this. So I was like, let's just use the free stuff, and then if it's something that you want to do, let's see about maybe investing something in it. And also see if it's something that people actually want before you go splashing the cash. So that was my approach. In video 3, I was sharing a passion, and I hit a proper wall with this. That video took me 2 full days to make. The last point alone took about 2 hours to record, and it was just 90 seconds of footage. I just couldn't get out what it was that I wanted to say. Clipchamp was also really clunky and really difficult to use, and I wrote in my reflection for that video that I just needed some moral support when you've spent hours of your life making a video and it still feels like an embarrassing pile of poo. There needs to be some kind of support group, and I guess that's maybe what you get in part-time YouTuber Academy, but there we go. There were also some small wins, because I managed to create a coloured text slide transition to introduce my main points, and I used my brand colours, and that all looked very nice. And I decided that would make it easier to start filming in distinct sections, so I could try different camera angles. I still haven't managed this one yet though, but that's definitely an idea that I kind of want to park and maybe use in the future. Video 4 was then a review video, so that's where I started testing out B-roll. One thing I noticed was that I naturally talk quite slowly, and on camera slow speech can come across as quite kind of low energy and it was uncomfortable for me to watch. So I experimented with speeding myself up, and I worked out a pace that felt kind of right and energetic without making me sound like a chipmunk. So and that's the danger with my voice anyway. Filming it was still a struggle. I tried using the built-in webcam recorder in Clipchamp, but it was horrendously glitchy. In the end, I gave up and I used the earlier takes that I'd done on my phone, and the audio was way clearer, and it got the job done. And for that video, I'd switched to using this mic. Then came video 5, which was a teaching video, and again that felt like a whole new step up, because for this one I spent a lot more time writing a clear script. I found a free teleprompter app to use, and having the script right next to the lens really changed things, because I actually managed to record the video in one whole take. Probably because I'd spent so long on the script in the first place, but because the words were right there and I was confident in them, I wasn't searching for what to say, which meant I spoke naturally at a faster normal pace, and I didn't need to speed up the video in editing afterwards. But the biggest surprise was my eye contact. So eye contact on camera is something I really struggle with, but because I was using the teleprompter near the lens, looking at the camera felt so much easier and more natural than it ever had done before. And I think it's because I'd spent more time on the script. I had more confidence in the words, so I wasn't kind of off searching for what I wanted to say. So that brings us on to video 6, which was the kind of day in the life vlog style. I actually had a lot more fun with this than I thought I would. I thought I'd find it massively cringe, but and I had fun mainly, I think, in the edit, putting different things in and adding in templates and background audio and stuff like that. There was a running track kind of sound effect that I really liked. I'm definitely going to use that again if I do more videos. But I was quite poorly this week and quite low on energy. I had to be a little bit strategic in how I use my energy, so I didn't have as much footage as I wanted, and it was a bit shorter than I wanted the video to be ideally. But looking back, video 6 contains probably what is the biggest kind of personal breakthrough of the entire challenge, because in video 6 I include a clip of myself doing Pilates at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't intending on using this clip. I was just playing around with the camera to see whether I could record myself doing some Pilates and what it might look like. So I was never planning to use the end footage. I hadn't done my hair or makeup. I was just wearing like a crop top and shorts. I look horrendous. On the top of that, I put a bit of weight on because of perimenopause and my thyroid and stuff, and that's kind of knocked my body confidence, which probably wasn't fantastic to begin with. So a few weeks ago, the idea of putting footage of my face, let alone my barely clothed chubby body, online would have been completely out of the question. But I saw this footage and I was like, why not? Like, let's just put it out there. I can always delete the video in the future if I want to, but this is what it looked like. Probably no one's going to see it, so I just need to stop overthinking it. And to put that out there for me was a really, really big deal. It marked a massive shift from worrying about looking perfect and creating perfect videos to just being real, to being me. And looking at where I am now compared to where I started, I just feel like I've learned so much. I've still got tons to learn. I'm just on that like little bit of the exponential curve, but I'm really enjoying it. And my technical setup, like I said, is still very basic. So there's a few things that I can improve there. I've been using completely free editing software, and if I decide to continue, which I probably will do, that's definitely something I think is worth investing in. So I'm going to have a little bit of a look for recommendations on that. My computer doesn't have brilliant processing power, and my clip-on mic was quite quiet in recordings, and I'm not sure whether that's a mic placement thing or whether if I detach the audio in the edit I can turn the volume up and fix that. I don't know, so I need to work that out. Practical tools aside, the real shift has obviously been the mindset one. So I went from spending an entire morning struggling through a 53-second clip to scripting effectively, using B-roll, pacing my speech, and actually enjoying the editing process, not completely hating every second of it. And I've realised that you don't need fancy equipment, you don't need flawless lighting, you don't need a perfect appearance to make useful video content that people enjoy and get use from. Being willing to be seen as you are, that's kind of what really counts, I think. And if you're a perfectionist like me, sometimes the best thing you can do is just set yourself a tight deadline, write a quick script, press record, get it out there, get it done. Thank you very much for watching. Do please throw some spears in the comments and let me know how I can improve and whether you'd be interested in seeing more content from me in the future.